Good morning, everybody. You're all very downbeat this morning. I thought this was going to be a big, proud moment. I mean, it's taken you 8.5 years of bullying, of lying, of ignoring democratic referendums. 8.5 years it's taken you to get this treaty through, and on the 1st of December, you will have it. And of course, the architect of all of this, Giscard, wanted from this constitutional treaty for the European Union to have a big global voice. But I'm afraid the leaders have suffered from a collective loss of nerve. They've decided that they want their faces to be up on the global stage, not somebody from the European Union, and so we've got appointed a couple of political pygmies. Country number 4, Spain, gets bailed out, and we all of course know that it won't be the last. This bailout shows what a success the Eurozone has been. And I thought, well, having listened to him over the previous couple of weeks telling us there wouldn't be a bailout, I've got the feeling after all his twists and turns, he's just about the most incompetent leader in the whole of Europe. And that's saying something, because there's pretty stiff competition.
It's about time that my own country recognised that our interests are best served by not being a member of this club. Most people in the UK thought we joined a free trade area. But this crisis demonstrates it is anything but.
Indeed, every single prediction of yours, Mr Barroso, has been wrong. And dear old Herman Van Rompuy, well, he's done a runner, hasn't he? Because the last time he was here, he told us we'd turned the corner, that the euro crisis was over, and he hasn't bothered to come back and see us. You have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the idea that tens of billions of private capital are going to arrive for joint projects with you guys, frankly, I think is pie in the sky. Though, happily, Mr Cameron, of course, has committed £6 billion of our money to this project. And if ever you're short of money, just ask Mr Cameron, because he always pays up.
And you want to come out of the EU.
And you don't?
I don't want to come out of the EU because I want to trade with people in the EU.
Switzerland is not a member of the EU. Norway is not a member of the EU. They have exactly the same terms of trade that we do.
The Italians have to lend to the Spanish banks at 3%, but to get that money, they have to borrow on the markets at 7%. It's genius, isn't it? It really is brilliant. So what we're doing with this package is we're actually driving countries like Italy towards needing to be bailed out themselves.
What surprises me is that 5 countries have now been bailed out within the Eurozone. The 6th is just round the corner. Public opinion, north, south, east and west of Europe is changing rapidly against this centralised model. And what surprises me is that so few people inside these institutions are even prepared to contemplate there might be something wrong with the Euro projects.
Where we agree minimum standards on work, on the environment, we can do all of these things without a European Commission, without a European Parliament and without a European Court of Justice. We've done it in security terms with NATO. Yes, it'll mean you'll lose your job, Mr Barroso, but apart from that, why can't we do things as mature democracies? Yes, I want you sacked, Mr Schulz, as well. I want you all fired. We can do those things, and that is a positive way forward. By taking away from people their ability to govern themselves and transferring that power to the European Commission, we're headed for a Europe of rebellion and violence. Let's take the Democrats. Been slashing our armed forces, won't commit to 2%, is happy for us not to be able to defend our islands. I think Mr Juncker's given us the answer. We're going to do it at an EU level. We're going to have a European army. Now, when I raised this last year with the Deputy Prime Minister, Liberal Democrat Nick Clegg, he said it was a dangerous fantasy to even talk about an EU army. I hope every Liberal Democrat voter has heard Mr Verhofstadt today, the leader of the European Liberals, crying out for militarisation. We haven't heard an apology. Your government has apologised for the Amritsar massacre. You've apologised for slavery. You've apologised for virtually everything. Will you please apologise for what you did as British Chancellor, and then perhaps we might just listen to you?
You, as a political project, are in denial. You're in denial that your currency is failing. You're in denial. Well, just look at the Mediterranean. No, as a policy to impose poverty on Greece and the rest of the Mediterranean, you've done very well.
While campaigning for a seat at Westminster in 2010, Mr Farage was badly injured in a plane crash, an experience that spurred him on.
We have this very unusual surname. There aren't many of us, and that is difficult. It's difficult when you're younger, because you're going to get teased mercilessly wherever you go, but it actually is difficult when you're grown up too. because people are judging you unfairly by your father. And that's tough. Yeah, that is tough.
UKIP put an EU referendum on the agenda and mobilised the vote. For a party with just one MP, UKIP's impact on politics has been huge.
Sort of surrounded by Scientologists. I'm surrounded by some weird cult who, even as disaster engulfs everything, continue to believe. I'm amazed more of them haven't.
Rats fleeing a sinking ship was another thing that was said.
I've had 17 years of abuse. I couldn't give a damn what they say. I'm not interested. They're upset. They're worried. And because they know that actually the UK is not the last country that's going to leave the European Union. Wait for developments. And clearly, the most important thing is when Article 50 is triggered, then there's going to be a real conversation in this Parliament and throughout the capitals of Europe about what kind of deal Britain's going to get. In particular, the introduction of the euro. I warned you, we all warned you, that it would not work for the Mediterranean countries. And what is happening to Greece now? Well, they're facing the next bailout in probably July of this year. And because you want to hold your project together, you are forcing them, bit by bit, to become a third world country.
So we now offer a beacon of hope to Democrats across the rest of the European continent. I'll make one prediction this morning. The United Kingdom will not be the last member state to leave the European Union. I never wanted to be a career politician. My aim in being in politics was to get Britain out of the European Union. That is what we voted for in that referendum 2 weeks ago. And that is why I now feel that I've done my bit, that I couldn't possibly achieve more than we managed to get in that referendum. And so I feel it's right that I should now stand aside. During the referendum campaign, I said, I want my country back. And what I'm saying today is I want my life back. And it begins right now. Thank you.